So in this video, I want to talk about, getting a part-time job as an international student in Canada, or if you're coming with your spouse, how easy is it for them to get a job, a full-time job in Canada? Because, if your spouse is coming with the spouse open work permit, while you are studying, your spouse can be working full-time. So how easy is it to get a job? And if you're an international student with the 20 hours per week, how easy is it to get a job? And what are some of the things you can also do to increase your chances, right? It works differently for different people. There are people that within 1 week they get a job. There are people within, it takes them like 1 month or 2 months to get a job, okay? Now, one of the first things that you have to do as an international student, so I will first talk about you as a student, working 20 hours, part-time, then I will talk about what some of the things that your spouse can also do to increase their chances of also getting at least that first job. And if they already have a previous experience from their home country, then what can they do to also increase their earning? Now, if you come as an international student, there is not a lot of options in terms of, you can't really be looking at a big job, right? Let's say in your previous country, let's say you've already done your bachelor's, you had like maybe 2-3 years of work experience, and you're coming here for a master's, and you're thinking, oh, when I just come, I'm just going to apply to the bank and then I start working part-time over there. So most of these corporate and skilled job, they usually don't like to employ people part-time, except if it is internship. If it is internship, yeah, it is easy to find, but the thing is that with internship, not every program is also eligible or also have an internship or co-op as part of their program. Mostly, if you're coming in for a bachelor's degree in engineering, most of them have co-op. If you're coming to do some diploma programs in colleges, they also have co-op. This is very good. In fact, I advise people, if you have 2 types of program, one has a co-op and the other none, if possible, choose the one with a co-op, because you're going to get about 4 months to work full-time for a company. And by the time you graduate, that 4 months or 5 months or 3 months, depends on the length of your program, is already going to count towards your Canadian work experience. But if you apply for a program that does not have co-op, yeah, all hope is not lost. You can get a part-time job, okay? One of the first things I would advise you to do is, when you come first, at least for that first week, at least try to sort out your accommodation and then sort out your class schedule and everything, so that you know when your classes are. Maybe you're out classes 3 times a week, 2 times a week, depends. You will not know the days that you're free. Let's say you work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You go to school, so you have classes Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, which means on Tuesday, Thursday, and the weekend, you will be able to work, right? So that is how, when you are not applying for jobs, because most of the job we ask you, when are you available? So you can't just come and you don't even know your class schedule, yet you're applying for jobs, because you might say, oh, I'm available for Monday, Tuesday, and at the end of the day, you have classes that Monday. And when they hire you and you keep giving excuse upon excuse, they're just going to fire you, right? So when you know your class schedule, then you can start applying for jobs, I mean, the 20 hours per week, it can even be 2 jobs, right? It depends on the schedule. There are some jobs that maybe they can only give you maximum of 12 hours or 10 hours, right? And you have another one that can give you an additional 10 hours. So if you have one that can give you that full 20 hours per week, then there might be some week, maybe your schedule might reduce to 16 hours, depends on, what kind of jobs they do. Now, the easiest and the most common types of jobs that you can get as an international student, number 1 is going to be customer service. This is, far the easiest. And for this customer service, if you have experience from your home country, that is good. You can just brush your CV. But even though you don't have experience from your home country, you can, a lot of these customer service are actually, entry level, okay? But you still have to, find a way to brush your CV and see how it relates to the job that you apply for, okay? So what you can first do is, if you know the type of jobs that you're going to be looking at for, customer service, retail associate, warehouse associate, you can work in any of the post office, sorting emails and all that. And then if you want to do delivery, the issue with this doing delivery is you need to have a car, obviously, and a certain class of license. So that is not something a lot of people can do at the moment, to have their own car within the shortest possible time. It's possible for those that already have money and they have a license from their country. So when you come, immediately, if you already have your license, you can convert to Canada. Maybe you have to do a test, right? Depends on the kind of license that you have and the country you're coming from, right? And you can do that, and then you can start doing, there is Uber, Skip the Dishes, and there is even taxi. That is a very good option. So this is why I said you have to really, be very humble. Don't say, oh, I used to be a big man in my home country, because if you do that, nobody is going to give you $5 or $10. Everybody is just going to work here and trying to raise money. So before you can see someone to say, oh, give me $20 or $30, it's very difficult, because you can't tell someone that I've been at work for the whole day, coming back so tired, and say, give me $20 and you're at home. It doesn't just make any sense. So when you see all these different jobs, warehouse, whatever, then sales associate, yeah, that's also another very good one you can apply for in a lot of the grocery stores, right? In the grocery store, in the malls, you see a lot of this sales associate, and in some of the grocery stores in Canada, like Walmart, No Frills, Safeway, Canadian Superstore, they are very good in hiring, entrance at the entrance level. You don't really need a lot of skills, but these people, they still want to see the skills on your CV, kind of, so if you're from your home country, if you've done anything relating to customer service at all, it might even be your own business where you had to talk to customer. That is customer service. So you just put it there. It also, as far as you can defend, because sometimes they might ask you, tell us, maybe during interview, tell us a time where you handled the customer, and maybe you went beyond the what you're supposed to do, or tell us a time where you faced a very tough customer, right? So if you've had your own personal business, or if you don't one or two things at all, that can be something you can tell during your interview. So what you have to do is to write a very good Canadian CV. Don't use your country format CV, because it's most likely going to be very different from what Canadian companies are looking at for, okay? Now, in your university or in your college, they have career centers, okay? In those career centers, you can go there and you tell them you want to, these are the kind of jobs you want to apply for. They can give you CV format. They can also help you to edit your CV. If you don't want to do that, there are like millions of samples on Google. Just type in customer service resume Canada, or warehouse associate resume, or retail, salesperson, resume Canada. You're going to see a lot of samples. So when you see those samples, then work on your sample to have something similar, okay? So once you have your sample, your CV ready, your resume ready, the next thing is to start applying. There are two ways you can apply. You can apply in person, or you can apply online. In person is very rare. There are some companies, for example, there is a store called Dollarama. They mostly sell maybe some of these household items. You can actually submit your resume. Most of the jobs found there are something like, overnight stocker, grocery clerk, then a salesperson, right? So you can just submit, even though they don't advertise, just submit over there and then leave. If they have anything, they can call you. In some other grocery stores, you can just submit your resume in person over there. But the thing is that you can't really tell whether they are, hiring someone at that time. So the most common one is applying online, okay? So there are basically the most common job site that you can use is called Indeed. Okay, Indeed. So Indeed.ca. When you go there, you can select based on the city. If you are in Calgary, just put in Calgary, and then in the place for search, you can just search customer service. And then what you can also do, filter the jobs by the last 7 days, because you don't want to go to apply for jobs that was posted like 30 days ago, right? So filter that. And then if you want in person or online, you can also select by that, but mostly filter by that date. And then you see jobs that were currently posted, and then you can just start applying. Now, what you can do, you can save your resume on Indeed, and then anytime you see a job, it will not take you more than a minute to actually submit a job, to submit an application, because there will be a button to say apply, and then what is your name, address, and then upload your resume, and then are you eligible to work, and those other little questions. Sometimes they may require you to do an assessment, right? So they will send, if you apply, they can send those assessments to your email, and then you get to do those assessments. So I would say don't apply for 2 jobs and go and sleep, because the way you're applying, that is say when hundreds of other people are also applying. So I would say apply as many as possible, okay? Although another thing you can also try to do is check the location, okay? Even though you are in Calgary, for example, there might be a place where the bus is like an hour, right? So if that's something you can do, then good. But if you can check the address of the company to see how close it is to, that's fine. Or just be applying, when you apply and you get an invitation for interview, then you can start checking the address to see how close it is for you. So that is about how to mostly apply for jobs using that Indeed. And then when they send you an email, then you can prepare for the interview accordingly. But please be very careful with Indeed, okay? There are a lot of people that are not genuine over there, and they are just sending out, they get your email, they are sending you some kind of things that are not so, it's not really true. And one of the ways you can know if you see anybody calling you for interview, first check if you applied for that job, and secondly, check the company on Google, okay, if they have a physical address or not. That's one of the way you can get to know if it is genuine or not. And then when you get called for an interview, prepare where there are a lot of questions you can do online to prepare for interviews. Now let's talk about the part where your spouse is coming with the spouse open work permit and they want to apply for jobs. Yeah, there are 2 things, right? If your spouse, if they have an experience from their home country, then they can start looking for maybe a little bit of higher jobs. And if they don't have experience, I tell you, even though depends on if you have, let's say, if the highest qualification is secondary school, obviously most of the jobs your spouse is going to get for full time is going to be some of those, customer service, research associate, and some other, it can be in the bank. Because they can work full time, you can basically get, jobs anywhere as far as it's full time, customer service and all that. If your spouse, if they have experience from their home country, now it depends on the kind of experience. If you've been working in the bank for about 4 years, if you come here, it might be difficult to actually get that banking job per se. Okay, maybe you're already a financial advisor, or even a manager. It will be difficult to just get that managerial position right away. So you can find something, even though it's lower, you can start from there, okay? Start from there, but don't remain there. By the time you work there for about maybe 6 months, then it can be a year or less than, then you now have Canadian experience to put on your resume, okay? And then you can start applying for higher paying jobs. It also happens, I always like to balance things. There are people that also come, maybe there's as a spouse on the work permit, and they already have skilled experience from their country, and they apply for a skilled job here and they get it. So it doesn't mean that when you come you can't get it. So it works differently for different people. So whatever you can find doing, just start from there. If you find something lower, then after a while start looking for something higher. At least because you can work full time now, it's kind of better because you have more options to choose from, and then most employer will be more than willing to employ you compared to someone that is just working 20 hours per week. Okay, and another thing, to let me just end with this: if you're working in an area that requires certification, let's say you are working in the IT industry in your home country and you want to do some other certifications here, because you don't have Canadian experience, that would be the best thing to do. Okay, maybe like you want to do cybersecurity certificate, maybe Google digital marketing certificate, and some other things like that. It's going to increase your chances of getting a job, a skilled job. But in any way, start from somewhere. Okay, it is difficult, but it is possible if you really put your head into it. It is really possible if you put all your mind into it and put in your best effort. So I wish you all the very best in your job search, either as a part-time or as for a spouse that is coming with the open work permit. If you really found this video useful, please do well to hit that like button. It will really help YouTube to recommend this video to other people. And if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for, but please smash that that subscribe button, so that whenever new videos are released, you will be the first person to get notified. So once again, thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.